Hi, I am your host, Sonny Marchetti, at the ONEV podcast. We are off the mat with Stevan Micic. How you doing, Stevan?
I'm good, Sonny. How you doing?
I'm doing well. Is it Stevan or?
It's Stevan Micic is how you say it fully.
Okay, so I've said it a lot, but it's looking at your name
Yeah.
looks simple.
Yeah.
Saying it might be a little bit different.
No, of course, my name is
Right?
not very, it's easy for the English language to say correctly, but, there's little accents over the C's at the end, and actually once you learn how to say it, being Serbian, the alphabet's pretty easy to learn. Everything's pronounced, every letter is the same thing. So Stevan, and then last name Micic.
Micic.
Yes. Micic, yeah.
And there's
good.
a couple of different ways to say Stevan, because it's Stevan.
Yeah, you just emphasize like Stev is the first word. So Stevan. Yes, there you go.
Right? No
yes.
No
F, no.
Okay.
Stefan's another Serbian name, but mine's Stevan with a V. So
because it sounds almost Stefan.
similar, yeah. But I don't care. I honestly, whatever. As long as I don't get Steven, I'm good to go. To be honest, so.
No, you don't like Steven.
No, because when my dad, that was like what my dad was called in school. He goes by Steve still. That's like his American name. And for me, it was just like in school, I'm not Steven, I'm Stevan. So I always kind of corrected people and made sure that everyone knew that I'm Stevan. And being Serbian, I think it's important for me to be. I just think it's like, hey, you can make the effort to say my name right. So,
Did you get made fun of at all?
Oh yeah, I got made fun of
like
for being.
For real. I got a different name.
Yeah,
right?
you do.
Sonny, Santonio.
Santonio, that's great. You're Italian?
Italian.
Fully?
No, I'm half.
Yeah.
Half Italian, half Irish, half German.
Yeah.
But yeah, first name and last name was a little bit different. The way it looks and the way you say it. Marquette. I've had Marchette.
Yeah.
So yeah, I was just curious.
Yeah.
What would
in school kids of course couldn't say my name, and then I was like always super small. I was like the smallest kid. I was like 45 pounds in second grade, so I got called like midget, being short, like little kid, shorty, everything. So it was just like funny because but I've always been pretty confident in myself and not really worried about what other people thought, and and then
were you the little kid when you were young?
Oh, I was the little kid.
Real?
Oh yeah.
You're from Indiana?
Yeah, I'm from my Northwest Indiana. I'm right on the border of Illinois and Chicago. So I live about 45 minutes from Chicago.
Is that like Joliet, Hammond?
Hammond is in our area, the region as we call it there, Lake County.
And I think the time change.
Yeah, we're still on Central.
There.
Yeah, we're on Central time with Chicago. We get the Chicago News. We're right off right near Lake Michigan.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's a vibe there. I love it. To be honest, it's cool. It's very well known for wrestling too. So.
What's some high schools in that area that are pretty popular? Section 9?
We don't have like sections. We don't really have sections. But it's like Indiana's all in one class too. But we just say the region and like
Region 9.
219 is what you're thinking of.
Yeah, that's what I'm
219
thinking.
is our area code.
Are they good?
Yeah. I would say we have for the amount of wrestlers that come out of it. Obviously, the influence of being near Chicago is definitely a big factor of why the area is good at wrestling. But in general, I just feel like the per town that are nearby, and we have some of the best wrestlers. Having myself as a world champion, having multiple NCAA champs. Andrew Howe is from the same high school as me. Jason Surtsis and Jesse Mendez, who are both NCAA champs and 4-time state champions from Crown Point, the high school over.
Crown Point.
Yes.
Yeah.
And
something's in the water out there.
Yeah.
Some
and
tough dudes.
Angel Escobedo and Alex Surtsis, Jason's brother, both from Griffith.
Gotcha.
We've had multiple NCAA All-Americans too. So I mean, it's the area is great, and it's very I think it comes from humble upbringings, and it's something. It's where we're tough.
So what'd you do when you were young? Like, did you start out wrestling?
I wrestled. No.
Right?
Yeah, I golfed actually. Golf was my first sport, and I was better at it till I was probably like 12. So it was, I don't know. And I love soccer. It's still my favorite sport.
So you golf now?
Yeah, I golf.
Lefty?
Righty, actually.
What?
My dad got me into golfing before I knew which hand I was. So, like, I didn't know if I was a lefty or righty, so he cut me down a driver, taped it up, and so I started putting and, like, just hitting the ball around like little Tiger Woods Jr., and here I am wrestling. Yeah, here I am wrestling now, and wishing maybe, man, if I was as good at like golf as I was wrestling, man.
The money's probably a little better on
Big
the golf,
money.
right?
Yeah.
You put it in the same system, and
yeah.
you might. Who's some of your golfers you like?
Well, I don't know. I liked Phil Mickelson a lot growing up. I liked Tiger, of course. Tiger's
Phil's
like,
lefty.
yeah. I like Phil because he was lefty, but that's kind of a weird thing. But in golf, it's like, you know what I mean? It's like, it's cool.
Yeah.
Tiger. There was a bunch of old golfers that I liked in the generation when I was coming up. Now I really like. Well, I used to like Ricky Fowler a lot in college. What my dad, yeah.
Originally, that's what he.
My dad, like, he got into it, but actually, him and my uncle did like jiu-jitsu. My uncle's a black belt in jiu-jitsu. And so I'm kind of like, I'm the first wrestler in my family, but I felt like we've always kind of had combat genes.
Yeah.
You know? So I started wrestling. I brought home a flyer at 8 years old, and I didn't look back. You know, I honestly, my other sport I was saying is soccer, and I have opportunities where, you know, I could have maybe gotten really, really good at soccer, but I turned it down because I was already good at wrestling, and I just felt that was God's path for me. I always talk about that to people. It's like, it just felt right. And, you know, when you're a little kid, your parents aren't going to say what you can and can't do. And it was just like, they saw my success in wrestling. They say, I loved it. And I told them I want to be the best. So how do you tell them, that, hey, go do something else?
Well, so to me, I think that's more than just cool, just because, I mean, I've been involved in wrestling. I'm 46, so I started when I was 4 or 5 years old and wrestled yesterday.
Yeah.
So I've been doing it, you know, my whole life. But I've coached college wrestling, and some of the most interesting questions that I have for people.
Yeah.
I grew up in a wrestling family. Both my older brothers wrestled, right? I'm the youngest. So I was bred into it, and I think I'm just, like most people bred into it, don't have longevity.
Yeah.
So I'm lucky there because I do
Totally.
have longevity. But the question I have is, for all those people I asked, do you have anybody in your family that wrestle? When they say no, this was my choice.
Yeah.
Dude.
Yeah.
Right?
It is one of those
you're a
things
wrestler,
for sure.
so you know. But when you weren't a wrestler.
Yeah,
right?
Exactly. I mean, I think, you know.
It's a whole different world.
Yeah, and I've said this before, but like to other people who ask, or on my YouTube and other things where I've like spoken about it, I think one of the reasons I'm successful, and my dad also being like my coach, my life coach, and my best friend through this process of helping me becoming a world champion, and, you know, seeing all the success I've had from youth to, you know, the highest level, senior level.
How old were you when you started?
I was 8. So I'm 28 now, so this is my 20th year of wrestling. So, you know, I think it's like, I would probably say that him being unbiased on anything and not having a set way of how wrestling has to be.
Yeah.
No, you know, learning from toughness, or you have to do it a certain way because this is what we just did.
Yeah.
That really helped him probably, you know, weed out some of the things that probably aren't good for you to do, and just know we broke down a lot of film, a lot of things from the best wrestlers in the world. It's like, this is what works, this doesn't work, let's do what works. So there's no biasy that, you know, if like I did it, that you need to do it. Everything's outside,
right?
exactly.
Because there is
it's learn while you go.
Started with.
Exactly.
Everything is already.
So you just learn while you go until you just master it, kind of thing, and that's
what you did. I would say that's, you know, what you did. You know, I mean, not just you. Obviously, you and your dad talking about the relationship, going along there, and, you know, I've been following you guys for the last, you know, 2-3 years.
Yeah.
That's, you've really had your main run.
Yeah.
Right?
Right
Not
after
just
I finished college.
Yeah,
right after
correct.
I finished my college career, for sure.
Yep. Wrestled at Michigan. That's okay.
Yeah. I did well. I mean, I had one of the best, you know, careers you can without winning an NCAA title, making the finals, 3-time All-American, Big Ten champ, you know, and I was real close. And I mean, hey, we know how it is in folk style. Like, you can have the best season all you want. You pick up an injury, get beat, and you know, you get your body gets beat, and then all of a sudden you go to there, and, you know, things happen, and, you know, it's a little bit different.
So grueling.
Yeah.
So grueling. College. So you graduate in 2014.
Yeah, high school.
So, dude, hold up. You know what I'm going.
I know you're going to do the math.
Let's do it.
The
I already
math
did it. Graduated in 2014. Now it's, COVID year.
Yeah.
So at that time, you had 6 years, 2014. It's 2020,
Yep.
6 years.
Yep.
Okay. Were you at the national tournament during COVID that year?
I didn't go. No, I didn't
were
go.
1 week out. Okay.
Yeah, we were a week out. I remember
was
being
your
at the
Olympic
practice.
red shirt.
Yeah, I remember being at the practice, and like we had the RTC guys.
Talk to me
Sergey's got
about
us
that.
there with the freestyle guys for Cliff Keen, and then the whole college team has to get pulled in while we're practicing. And we're just like, oh, geez, they're gonna say something big, and they get.
So you guys were on the practice mats.
Yeah.
At Michigan.
And then the team that wasn't. So like there's like me, Logan
time of the
Massa,
day?
Miles Amin,
3
and a
o'clock?
few other guys. Yeah, we had practice like 3:30, 4 o'clock. We're practicing on our mat, and then the freestyle mat, and then the college guys all get pulled. The guys wrestling the season and went in the locker room, and we're like, oh shit, like this isn't good. And they canceled this. They said, this is it. You guys got to go. We're going home. Like season's over.
So like, what I think a lot of people might not understand is go home like you're in the middle of practice.
No, yeah, like
go
shower
home,
up,
like
go
you
home.
go home now.
Yeah, and we're not,
Right?
and the NCAAs are done. And
Yeah.
the NCAAs are done. So it's like everything you're training for in one season is just finished. Like, that to me is just so nuts because it's like the culmination of the NCAA tournament is one of the biggest events you have. And I don't know, in all sports, because like I don't think there's any other sport that has a 4 or 5 month season that long and that competitive to go to a conference match and then a conference tournament, like Big Ten championships, Pac-12 championships, EIW, any of that, to then go 2 weeks later to your biggest tournament and perform again to win. And everybody's banking all on the end of this thing, regardless of what happened before. And just, it's cut, swept out underneath. So
you guys, this is the week before you guys go to nationals.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And that year, you're one of the Olympic red shirt
Yeah,
guys.
so I was the red shirt guy. Yeah,
right?
Yeah.
So you were there training, helping
And
those guys get ready.
Yep.
And then it was like, hey, who was the head coach then?
Bormet was the head coach.
And did he gather you guys and tell you the information?
Oh, yeah. We found out right after them. And, it was wild, to say the least. I just remember, like, being in Ann Arbor, too, for, like, 2-3 weeks, just kind of in limbo. We were just hanging out, going to the park outside, like, playing games and stuff, because it was like, all right, well, we're not going to wrestle. The Olympics was just, like, really soon after that was, like,
Right.
that got pushed a year later. So we had nothing to really do. We're just like, and we're stuck, and we're like, all right, like we got to go home soon. Classes eventually moved all online or got canceled. I wasn't in classes at the time
So
because
were
of
you
the red
training?
shirt.
So like
It was awkward.
It was awkward.
Yeah.
So for you, I mean, is it awkward because of the structure changed that
Yeah.
you were used to?
Yeah.
Did you like COVID? Meaning, like, did that give you an opportunity to train even more?
I mean,
Or how did you guys navigate that?
Well, it was weird because especially me wrestling 57 kilograms, I thought it was very awkward to like plan on everything going to August, right, and of that year,
Right.
and this is May, so you have, or I'm sorry, this is March. March to August, you have five months or so, and all of a sudden it gets moved a year later. So you've just moved something that you're training everything for a full year. So now you're 15 months away from that tournament.
complete different
So now you have to
cycle.
change everything. Your mindset just kind of gets weird. You just feel a little bit stressed and you just get a little stretched thin. I felt mentally that year a lot because I was kind of coming into myself. And as a senior level freestyle wrestler, I was winning European medals, but I had not won a world medal yet. And going into my Olympics that year, I was just like, can I do it? Can I? Maybe not. I don't know. I believe in myself, but like I got a big task ahead of me. And so when stuff like that happens, I felt like it put more pressure and more stress on me.
Yeah.
So it wasn't cool. I mean,
It wasn't
it was
cool.
not cool. No.
Right. I mean, there's always, we always have things on the outside that natch at us, right? But COVID was a different ball game.
Oh yeah.
That was a complete different ball game. So like, they tell you you're in your car. Did you just go home that day?
We went back to Ann Arbor, just chilled and.
At your apartment?
Yeah,
Did you have
yeah,
an apartment
yeah.
with some roommates? and
Yeah,
you guys,
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then, months went by, and then almost another COVID cycle again.
Yeah. Well, then
Did
then
you wrestle
we had
the next year then?
Well, the next year I had an injury a little bit and I went home. Obviously, I was back home training, and then when I went back to Michigan, I had like a neck injury that kind of kept me away from my disc. I had a ruptured disc in my neck or bulging disc, whatever it is. That I basically I lost a lot of strength in my hand, and so basically I had to like get that taken care of during that college year. But that was a free year for everybody, so I still had a year after that left. So
that's where it starts to add up.
Yeah. And I was kind of burned
Do you
out.
live in the same apartment, right? Because typically you go to college.
Yeah. No, I was in this. The final year I moved into an apartment with like Miles Amin and Tyler Meisinger, who works for Flow now, but he's one of my best friends, both of them. So it's cool to live, move out of the same college house that I was in.
Right, that's what I'm
to like
saying.
somewhere more like, all right, like I'm a little too old for this now. So we had that, and then that last year it was just tough because I felt a little bit burnt out from, like the whole college scene, having that many breaks, having that much, and
coming to the end of your college
Coming
career,
to the-
and then it just got pulled and stretched.
Oh, yeah.
Because of COVID.
Oh yeah.
Right?
Yeah. That was what made it tough. I had mono at the Olympic Games in Tokyo. So to add that onto the situation where, like I said, I was probably did things a little, I was uptight, I was stressed, overworked a little bit with my training and the weight cut and everything. So I got sick when I wrestled, and it wasn't great. So then going off of that, it was kind of like, man, I don't want to come back into college right now. And I was small. I was weighing probably 140, 42, something like that. And they were like, it's T100. Michigan's going to do a documentary. We're going to do a documentary on like this year. If you come back, we have a chance to win beat Penn State. I remember like we got Suriano I ended up like convincing Suriano to come. Yeah. And the thing that
You
was
still have a relationship with him?
Yeah, Nick's a good guy. So I don't talk with him often, but he's doing his own thing. But that's his personality, and I love that about him. So I think it was just something where it was like I kind of did it for the team. I should have won 133. I decided to bump up to 141, where I wasn't making cutting weight for weigh-ins. I was just showing up and stepping on the scale. 2 years fresh out of college, and still not fully healed up from the Olympics, and being sick with mono. Really, I've never. You get so much smaller, then you don't gain that muscle mass back that you need, especially 25 and 33. Like the 41's a whole nother jump of human beings that are just a lot stronger. And it felt so weird going in that year wrestling and like knowing I'm better than this guy, and then all of a sudden lose. I'm like, what happened? I was like, it was a tough year nonetheless.
Yeah, your career is I don't want to say tough to follow, because it's not tough to follow, but
it's been all over the place.
It's kind of been, you've had some experience.
Yeah.
You've had experience everywhere. Like you said, you've wrestled 141. You wrestled 133 in college. That was your main weight, would you say?
Yeah.
Right?
And then
now you're at 57 kilos, which is
125 and a half.
125.66.
Something like that, yeah.
Type deal, right?
Yeah.
So now, holy cow. For those that have wrestled, and then to a decent extent, I think they understand. Like, I'm looking at you now, and you're not a 125 pounder.
Yeah, no, I couldn't do that all the time, no.
But you are, right? But you are. 133.
Yeah, it's manageable. 33 is
you're
really
not
nice.
a 33 pounder. You're huge.
Yeah, I guess.
You're not a 41 pounder. You're like a real life-size, 60. You look like weigh about 150, 160.
That's how I look?
Yeah.
You think so?
Well, I would think to the normal average person.
Yeah.
Not like this wise, but
right now, if I go and step on the scale, I'd probably be 45 and a half. Isn't that crazy?
Yeah.
I'm just lanky. I've got a wide frame, and I carry it.
You carry it well.
I'll take it though. For my regular daily thing, I don't really want to look like a 25 pounder to be honest on the daily, or a 33 pounder.
Yeah, no, not at all.
I'm cool with having a good frame, which is in change. I think can help me where my goal is to be in the 150s if I want to continue wrestling in the future, and going up I probably want to compete at 61 kilos if I'm going to keep wrestling.
Okay.
I would wrestle 61, and that's like 134, which is a really simple cut. That's like where I like to, I'm very comfortable doing all the time, and that's like manageable. But to build up and make the jump to 143 is you have guys coming from 160, and it's tough where my body's just not developed to that strength yet.
No,
So,
it takes the body so long, right, to adjust to another weight. Look at John Jones. He went up to heavyweight, right? And just how long that it's taken him to change to a heavyweight.
Yeah. Well,
Just
I know I've got
changes.
the frame to do it. It's just a matter of, filling myself out and taking the time to change my body, to change something I'm not totally used to doing yet,
You got different muscle
And
memories
Yes.
that are going to adjust now
Yes.
because they're going to be different.
Well, we'll have to see with this with the leg. We'll see how that goes. In the future.
Talk about the knee.
Yes.
Right? Let's talk about it. So,
Yeah.
right, you're going to the Olympics, qualified for the second time.
Yep. My second Olympics, two-time Olympian.
I want to just yell, I'm jealous.
Yeah. Where I was. Yeah. And I was the number.
I'm jealous.
And I was the number one
because,
seed.
dude,
Both
not
twice.
just a one-time.
Yeah.
You were a two-time Olympian,
Yeah.
world champ.
Yeah, and
but
going.
two-time Olympian.
Yeah. And going into the tournament as the number one seed both times. So, and after winning a world title, feeling everything confident, feeling good. It was tough where it was like, I've had a PCL injury in the past where I've hurt my knee maybe 4 years ago.
Can you paint a picture? How many days out? Let's just go from there. How many days out from, say, competition?
Yeah. Well,
Week, 2 weeks.
Well,
3
when
weeks?
my knee, I guess to answer your question right, I got hurt like probably about 3 weeks before the Olympics. It was when I blew my PCL completely.
Yep.
It's done. Like my PCL's gone. But it's an older injury that I've had. Maybe I got 4 or 5 years ago that was like a grade 1.5 to tweaked in my knee. But you just can't heal a PCL without operation. But you can kind of work around it if you keep your muscle. And this knee I've always had since then. I've always had problems with other joints, other ligaments. And I think around July, end of June, I actually I tweaked my LCL. I was training with Matt Ramos in practice, and it kind of made a little pop noise and was like, I tweaked it in a crackdown, and was like, oh man, I'll be okay though. And it was a little swollen. It was on the side, whatever. But when that stuff happens, you always are worried about other things. And I was wearing a brace on my knee, and a different brace, and in practice, this was when I got to camp in Europe, preparing for the Olympics.
So now
I'm in it. Yeah, this is
where
in training
are you
camp.
in Paris or
I'm
are you in Serbia?
I'm in Bulgaria, actually, up in the mountains training. I've got Ortega, one of my training partners from Cuba. He's a 2-time U23 world champ.
See the guy that does the warm-ups?
Yeah.
On
That's
the video?
him. Yeah, he's my bro.
Dude.
Yeah.
Entertaining.
Yeah, he's a freak.
Yes. Looks
So,
like it.
he's
I
the
got him
man.
in my notes too.
Yeah. So I wrestled him. I got in a position where I got kind of like I did a duck in a body lock, and I tried to go and make sure to like plant him down. I kind of ran up to the edge and went, and I dropped to both my knees, and the brace kind of kept my knee, and it just went boom, and where it then just fully tore my PCL. I felt it hurt really bad. It bruised, but then afterwards it was more than just the pain because it was like so unstable. So pain was one thing, but the instability to then train going forward, going to do other things like get down to run, going to bike, doing things like hard wrestling. I can't just drill soft. I'm 3.5 weeks out from the Olympics. This is the main peaking time for myself to get in the best shape, and I missed a lot of match time. Like I couldn't do matches, I couldn't do simulations, I couldn't do a lot of positional wrestling. I mean, it was a lot of things we had to watch and be careful with. And I got my weight down. One day we'd try to do a simulation cut to compete. I got down to 60 kilos, 132. Okay. Did it pretty easy, but the amount of time it took with the leg, where I just can't do running, was just like, this is ridiculous. I can't just go in the sauna for the next 7 pounds that I have to lose and And when I'm in proper positioning, I mean, I couldn't, and just to speak on just wrestling, executing was just horrible, coming from Mike, my camera guy who came with my YouTube, my sparring partner, when we were telling them about, hey, I don't think I'm going to be able to wrestle, they were like, whew, Stevan, like, I thought we were going to be the ones to tell you, like, you shouldn't be wrestling. You shouldn't go out there and wrestle.
So
like,
they
knew. Everybody knew. It was like I was tripping. I was falling over myself with my leg, with my, just dragging my leg. This is it's not my lead leg, but it's the leg that drives off everything. And I hit a knee pull. I'm pounding this knee all the time. Boom, boom. And
your knee is everything.
It's everything. And I think a lot of people don't understand that knees, it's super critical. And with the situation I was in, it was just like a nightmare scenario. If we decided to go wrestle, it probably would have been a Tokyo repeat where I got sick before and shouldn't have went on there. And, I'm in a much better... what's that?
Is that kind of one of the decisions? You just didn't want to feel that?
Well, I wouldn't say that wouldn't be the main thing.
Not the main, but...
No, the first thing is performance. Like, look, I have a standard of being able to... I'm the world champion. I'm coming in to win. It's a professional decision you have to make. I understand now the full behind being able to, you don't want to take anything away from people that are just going to compete and that they'll give everything to compete for the Olympics. But I've been in that situation before, and I'm very blessed. I mean, I thank God every day for being able to qualify for the Olympics, and no matter what happens. But I was in a situation where I know my body and I know what's right and wrong, and we knew that this was not good. So it's not something worth taking the risk to possibly hurting my knee worse and possibly putting myself in a much worse position mentally going forward, where, look, that's mental health is an important thing in the sport, and it messes a lot of people up, and they despise the sport because of it.
Well, I was going to say,
so
I'll tell you what.
I saved my mental space where I'm in a very positive position because of my wrestling skills. I'm the best that I've ever been. Winning a world title, becoming a world champion has me in a very great place. And even when in Tokyo, when I wrestled, I was doing really well leading up to the tournament. And being sick and competing, I lost a lot of confidence because of that year, And it's like, but you were sick and you wrestled, I wrestled Takahashi that year, who was a former world champ. It's like you had nothing to lose. Hey, you wrestled your best. You tried your best at least, and it's just like, mental health is important. So it's not the main reason. It was a professional decision by everybody, not just myself. And everyone important to me knew that it was the thing to do. So,
well, obviously, you and your team make good decisions and the right decisions. And going with your team, how'd your dad feel? I mean, he's a big part of your wrestling experience.
Yeah,
all the way around, success to everything.
So he was bummed too. I mean, it was devastating for our family. I had a lot of family come out to Paris to watch, and we had tickets and they had hotels, and my dad being at training camp with me every day, just, seeing my struggle, seeing that, and we knew as a collective that this wasn't smart, and to take away the suffering, we're not going to put you out. We're not going to, let you go out there to, do something of that, you shouldn't put yourself into. I mean, in any sport, that wouldn't be reasonable. I understand the extravagance of the Olympic Games and people wanting to do it, but it's just like something where it's like, look, you're not going to put Messi out in the finals with a torn ACL. No. I mean, he came off the pitch in the Copa game. They sent him off. He was crying. He didn't want to. But look, he can't go. It's a professional decision for the long term. It's just what it is. And it was weird being in Paris with my family instead of in the Olympic Village and everything, and being there. But having them was mental health and healing and just support my support system. They're there. And they made things a lot easier on me, for sure. So, yeah.
So then you're in Paris. You're at the Olympics, right?
Yeah.
You're ranked number one, seeded number one going in. At this point, are you kind of going, you think you're wrestling, you're going through the bracket in your head, your layout, right?
Yeah.
So kind of what did your road look like in your head?
Yeah, well, it was crazy because, being the number one guy, I think the seating was spread out decently well. but like the guys who weren't seeded weren't, we don't know who they're going to draw.
Right.
But the thing that was made that, so I honestly, I was ready for whoever first round. It didn't matter because that's the most important thing. But I would say that the thing that really hurt me the most was watching how the bracket probably unfolded, just because of the way that everybody got sifted through, the way that the way that the wrestling ended up like occurring, and then me not being there just kind of was like, because
So they had to re-bracket.
they had to change
right? So
everything
that's what you're talking about,
around, and it just
re-bracket.
kind of was like without me. And then I know one of the other wrestlers who was a former world champ that I beat last year. He had I don't know what happened. He might have had an injury or was sick or trouble with his weight cut, but he looked really bad. Abakaro from Albania, the Russian, he did really bad, and not to his standard of tournament. So it was just like watching the bracket, kind of like the Armenian guy who's a European champ.
Wrestled
Last year in the semis. I beat him in the semis. Yeah, he's a world champ in 22.
huge.
Yeah.
All right. I'm watching on TV. I'm watching your worlds, right? And that guy looks huge. I mean, you look big, but that guy looks huge.
No, he's big. He's got the weight. I'm lanky. I kind of always have like the higher upper body where
Right.
my neck's big. I have like my arms are long and I'm tall. But I don't have my legs or not that much when I get down, but in my waist. But his legs and butt are just like thick always. So he's probably built maybe more like, but I don't know. It's tough.
So this is at the World Championships, quarterfinals.
Yep, quarterfinals.
And we were talking a little bit about your poise.
Yeah.
You watching a lot of your matches.
Yeah.
You're down too.
Yeah,
So
down 7-2, which is
Dude.
5 points at the,
how do
at
you
the
deal
break
with
with
that?
3 minutes.
So how do you deal with that? 7-2.
Well, first I would say, like a lot of these past experiences where I've had failures or had, unfortunate events happen to me that have, pushed me, that have tested me, have always made me stronger, where I just feel like going into those kind of situations more numb now and not really caring and feeling so emotionally flustered, that I know that I can find a way through it, because if that's the worst that happens, it's like really not that bad at the end of the day.
Tell you what.
So I knew
that's such a good attitude.
it's
A lot
hard
of
to
people
do,
don't think like that.
but I've been in so many bad situations where I've also lost those matches, and I've learned how to adjust and get better from.
So
training.
how do you adjust? So you come.
Well, I go back
to the corner.
So I go back to the corner, and I was talking with my dad, and we're just like, with what I've been trying to do, my righty collar, he's just not getting moved at all by it. He's just not getting moved at all. And my dad had no answer either. He's just like, we need
So how
to
do
do
you score
something.
on you though?
Well, basically, he did his homework. He scouted me. Uguyev and me were in. Yeah. I would just try to grab here. I would just foot fake, and as I would pull up the front headlock, he singled me inside tie,
Okay.
swept around.
So
He
it's
did a couple
7-2.
times. We got in a scramble, and I think he got a push out, a challenge point, because I scored 2, and then it was like a 2-2, and he ended up back, and then I lost the challenge for just only me 2. But then basically I'm like, Dad, I know what I got to do here. I got to use my left hand. I got to change up my tactics. Like, I trust me. Like, I'm going to wrestle the best 3 minutes of my life here.
So you having this literal
Conversation, yeah.
During 30-second break, right?
Yeah.
In between.
Yeah.
This is at the World Championships.
Yeah. In my biggest
And
match.
you're not arguing with your dad, but are you having more of like
No, we have these
of a-
kind of conversations all the time. This was a very
straightforward,
mature, locked in,
Yep.
game plan. He's not mad. He's never
No.
mad, but he wasn't even yelling. We were just like, we got to figure something to do here, and I knew what I had to do. I didn't really know if it was going to work, but I knew that was kind of the plan for me to try, and I stuck on it. And I mean, look, the match is sort of more like a marathon, but you got to pick your sprints, and I just was able to kind of find my tempo. In there, and then once I found my tempo, it was just like I didn't think anymore. It started working, and this is what I train for every day. This is the kind of thing I train for. And once I just got in my rhythm, it was over. I ended up scoring 3 takedowns back to back to back. I scored, I think, 6 unanswered points to win 8-7 or 8-6. So it was 8-7. So it was crazy just the way that the match, transpired. Against the guy who hasn't lost in 4 years. He was an Olympic gold medalist, a 2-time world champion. It's wild because we were friends in Dagestan when I went to train like 10 or 11 years ago. We trained together. And then since then he's been one of Russia's best wrestlers. But my first international match for Serbia was against him in Dagestan because European Championships were in Dagestan. I lost 6-4. Oh. Then this time,
I've lost
to him too, and that was the year he won his first world title. And then this time we wrestled in Serbia, my home country, and I win in a crazy match against. And we had both, especially him, had all these accolades of,
And for those that might not know, right?
Yes.
So you compete for Serbia.
Yeah.
So just run me down that road.
Yeah, everybody
knows.
knows. Nobody's new to the fact of why I wrestle for Serbia, but being Serbian means a lot to me.
That's it.
And I got the opportunity to do it once I was young. So the main thing that I talk to people, or not that many people know about, is ever since I started wrestling for Serbia, it's really kind of opened my eyes to just learning about the world, learning about more experience, doing camps, doing. You get so much more out of wrestling, learning about what it is.
So
than
in
just,
one of your videos, one of your videos, I wrote it down, you had, so this has got to be so cool. You got an American, a Serbian, a Japanese, a Russian, and somebody else, I think. In one of your practices.
Yeah.
Like, that don't happen to everybody every day. Like, at your work. And these aren't just like their background. I'm gonna tell you.
No, they're world-class guys.
They're from Japan.
Yes.
Like, I forget what practice you had with the
No.
Cuban. Oh,
yeah.
So you had a Cuban.
Yeah.
You had a guy from, I think, Japan.
Yeah.
Right?
Well, it was just, just
So
having
like
all
five,
those.
6 melting pots of countries.
Yeah, I mean.
How cool is
I'm
that?
amazing. I mean, very blessed in the fact that I'm able to learn so much more about other cultures, but also get better from the others best in the world, other places, and always consistently growing, taking things, choosing what I like best and what I can learn from. And I guess what's cool about my thing is that because of my situation, I'm a little more like free form, that I can kind of create these environments versus just like, hey, I train at a university.
Cuban in the same room?
Yeah.
Japanese guy.
Well, it also helps. I mean, when you win world medals.
Are they staying at your house?
Well, actually, sometimes yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, they do. I'll bring them in. I'll have them stay at my place. I have space, or we'll get a hotel if we have more than like 3 or 4 people, and we'll kind of have these training camps by my house. In the Northwest Indiana or like Chicago. We've had Vito and Yanni in to train. Had other guys, Joey McKenna, Seth Gross. To name a few, we've had Russian a guy from Azerbaijan come in. Rivera's came in. We've had just a bunch of guys that have came this way.
So, who does, or how do you approach your structure then, right? Because there's got to be some type of, you have your goal. So kind of talking about like mindset and developing a plan of action for how you deal with.
Yeah.
Well, I just remember this brought my attention. You said for the world championship, you said I'm ready.
Yeah.
You said I feel ready.
Yeah.
So the question I have:
how did you get ready?
How do you get ready to feel ready? Right? Like, and it's true. And you could see that mentally, right? How do you mentally get ready? Physically, everybody could watch your video and see you physically training and things like that, right?
Yeah.
So when you guys put your structure together,
I would say
how do
just
you mentally approach the game?
Well, everything for me is when you're competing, I feel like preparation is the main thing, and having a consistent, knowing that I'm getting better every day, trusting in my process of it, and then knowing that I'm prepared. Like my dad, I think he told you earlier before that when you're, Tom Brady, he always told me about this Tom Brady quote that they asked him how he's always ready. He's like, it's like a test. I studied for my test. I go and take the test. It's an A. These are like quizzes. These are like exams. I'm ready for the test. I covered my offense. I covered my defense. I'm getting all these feels in positional wrestling every practice. I'm not missing out on any of these things. It's not like I'm like, hey, I'm just wrestling and then nobody touches my leg in practice and all of a sudden someone grabs my leg and I get taken down. No, guys are in on my legs all the time. In worst case scenarios, you name it, just single high crotch, crackdown, split the middle, around the edge, leg in the air. I mean, you got to cover all of these things and be ready. Like this isn't we're not playing games here. This is professional business. So you have to treat it like it. And I mean, every area is you have to be a little bit anal. I mean, a little bit of a perfectionist. My dad is being one, even more than me. But having him and knowing that he's satisfied with, being over prepared and having like him know it's okay makes me also feel a lot more relaxed because when he knows I'm good, I'm good. So that helps a lot for me. Because sometimes, like, you go into practice, especially in college. I mean, wrestling in college.
So when the caddy feels good.
When the caddy feels good. When my daddy's just like, my caddy.
When your caddy looks over and you're going to swing and he feels good.
Yeah.
You're
good. Yeah. And you know how it is in college wrestling. You get away from a lot of the stuff that you gain, and you gain in your, everything that's developed you to that point. You go away, you're with new coaches. It's hard to express yourself. It's hard to really, sometimes you question yourself and how ready you are, how practices are.
You lean on teammates.
You lean on teammates more than your coaches sometimes, which is kind of weird, but it's strange. And having my coach being someone I can express, I can yell at, I can cry with, I can be happy with and celebrate with, you need that. And luckily I have that great relationship with my father. It's harder for some relationships but like regardless if it's your father or not, I think that's the key. It's not that the actual blood relationship. It's the relationship of how well you can actually communicate and know who's training you and how, I mean, in Russia and a lot of these places, they have coaches that train them since they're 13, 14 years old, and that's their coach.
Speaking of that, being prepared, and this is honest too, like what are you thinking in the tunnel? We've all dreamed of being where you've been. Yeah. One way or another, right? So being at the elite level, if you're an athlete, I don't care if it's swimming. I watched this swimming in the Olympics. Yep. And darn near got emotional with the American and the Japanese team doing the diving. Oh, right? Yeah. So what keeps you grounded? I think that might be a good way to put it. Yeah. What keeps you grounded? You're in the tunnel. Yeah. At the World Championships, like you said. Yeah, so you're not losing your head. You're not losing your head. Yeah. Well, I think about that all the time, because it's like something you go into a mindset. You just kind of get in this little trance, and everybody does, where you just kind of are outside of your, you're not like realizing what's actually happening. Is this something you practice? I don't know. I think just wrestling in general, everyone has their own way of working, but what really changed me and kept me grounded, that really kind of, I think, changed the switch for me, was that world's, off the weight cut, going into two hard matches and going into the world champ or the Olympic champ Uguev, and then having to beat 3 world champs in a row to win gold. It was kind of like realizing that this is what I've always asked for, and I had to kind of remind myself, because you're not going to feel your best. It just isn't going to happen. When you think about all the little things, like my knees ache, or not just like my knee, my ankle's aching me, my knees aching me, my shoulders aching me. Little things that like really wouldn't bother you every day that you go into practice, things that you could just get through, small things. You start getting worried about, I'm feeling a little jittery, I didn't eat enough food, or I didn't, little things that. Trying to be perfect. You try to get perfect because now it's competition time, and when you feel off that, because you go into practice, you're not as nervous, you feel great, you're eating whatever. Now you're in a way different, you're in this battle mode, like you're fight or flight. Yeah. And now all of a sudden you have to tell yourself, well, for me, it was like, I'm in the back room, I see Higuchi here, I see Uguev here, I see Abakarov here, I'm on the floor, I see, all these guys. I see Dake and Sidakov warming up, like guys that are just like Yazdani's right there. This is war. And this is war. This is our war. And this is war. Yeah, and this is what I asked for. Behind the scenes. Yeah, and this is what I asked for. So it's like, I got to remember, as much as you are here and you're nervous and you're scared, I asked to come here. I got on a plane. I came here to train for this. Did you have an aha moment? I trained my ass off every single day, twice a day. Was that your aha moment? That was for me. And it was like, I don't care how I'm going to feel. I'll leave it out there. I'll die out there kind of thing. And that was really what kept me grounded, where it was just like, screw this guy across. Like I'm going into a battle here.
You know what I mean?
kinda
That's what it is.
said, "Let's
Yeah,
go.
yeah,
You
let's
got
go.
this."
Because this is like,
What are you
you
doing,
see
dude?
what's
You
around
trained
you
for
and you don't
this.
realize what's really happening until you really think about it.
Yeah,
So,
you're up in a couple minutes on the world stage
Yeah,
competing
yeah.
for your world championship,
yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And
a funny story too, I've got my like an Aura ring. Have you seen these? They like
Okay,
track your,
yep.
your sleep, your recovery. I had this thing on me, like while I was sleeping the night that like before weigh-ins. So I didn't sleep very good. Get up in the morning, work out, lose about 5.5 pounds, 6 pounds, something like that, which is a lot of like water load. Strip it off and get back to weigh-ins, or after weigh-ins, I'm like, man, I should check my ring. I don't check it. I don't check my score. Well, that day I ended up making the finals that night. And afterwards, like after my weight cut, I'm going to bed. My dad's like, let's check your Aura score. And it was like in the like upper 60s. It was like, take a break. Don't do anything today. Your body's destroyed. And I just went and beat Uguivan Abukarov to make the finals. I got Higuchi tomorrow. I'm just like, man, that's hilarious. Like, you just got to go. Your body does crazy things when you need it to be.
So that told you ain't got nothing left.
Yeah.
And you had to
gotta
go still
do it.
compete and
It's
win
up
a
here.
world title.
Yeah, it's up here.
Couple keys to victory.
Yeah.
I think you have.
Yeah.
Just from my perception, not just from the wrestling, which obviously, you and your dad do an unbelievable job
you.
of studying. One, the sport, which you pick from the highest level, right? You bring in the highest level wrestlers, not just the style that you're trying to compete against, but the person who has that style, a Yanni or something like, that they, so you have all that, but you guys carry an ease, even though you guys are, like when I watch the blog, right?
Yeah.
Right?
My
I
blogs
follow
on
that,
YouTube,
but,
yeah.
yep, which those are awesome. Keep doing.
Yeah, of course.
That puts old guys like me, still able to see the process being developed now, right? My process is over. I process for other people, but just seeing that is awesome. So I hope you guys keep blogging for a while, which I'm sure you are, right?
Yep.
Right? You have some recovery.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
You have some recovery.
Yeah, of course.
But that's what I'm saying. You guys have a nice ease about you to where you make following your story happy.
Okay, good.
Good
I
or
would say so
bad.
too. I think so too.
Like events that are happening to you. Like you just had one of the worst things ever, but it made me want, you guys carry something, not just entertaining, having fun in the training, but the message that is in there is, one, father and son is the obvious viewing message.
Yeah.
But the ease, really there's an ease about it. Like you'd never get too stressed when he's yelling. Right?
You
But you don't.
You should have saw the car right up here. No, no.
But everybody has, Becker, and that's your dad, right? But not even just the relationship, but that's one part of you that makes you successful. You have a relationship.
I'm very thankful to God and very, just real. I'm always praying and always thankful and, having a relationship with my dad, my sisters, my mom, my whole family, we're close. And
so having a support staff
having a
like
support
you
system.
have, not just, your dad.
Yes.
Talk about your mom.
Yeah, my mom's pleased. My mom's
Okay.
the best. I mean, she's so supportive, not just in me, but she's always been just with all of my sisters as well. And she's someone who's like understands what it's like how wrestling works. Wrestling isn't one of those sports that you just can, go to practice like this. It's like it takes so much out of you. Just you can see, you can come home and just be physically wiped. Like when you're a kid, she knows if you have a good or bad practice, right? It's like evident. I mean, you might have a black eye. You might have you got a gash in your head. You got a
He's got this technique, but she knows how you feel.
Exactly. So she was being able to relate and understand that, but also how competitive she is for me. That was crazy. She's had more than my dad, I think too.
Yeah, don't mess with the mom.
No, she's got it.
No,
I mean, she
don't mess
went up
with
to
the
some
mom.
kid one time. I lost to some kid in 8th grade in some finals tournament, and she went up to the kid and goes, like, I don't know, it was so uncalled for. She's like, you haven't seen the last of Stevan Micic. And I'm like, what? Like, I was like, Mom, you got to chill. But it was so funny. Like, she does, like, you know, she isn't like that like really, but, you know that she's going to go to war for you too. Or for me, you know, like.
I think somebody needs to do this, but I think somebody needs to make a book or something about wrestling moms.
Wrestling moms.
For real. Right?
Yeah.
All the dads get.
Well, wrestling dads have that already, that limelight.
Right. But the moms, you
Yeah.
don't mess with them. Like, and especially today's
You know how
wrestling,
many of those,
they're
you know how
getting-
many club coaches and stuff are just like, man,
Yeah.
this kid's mom, you know, Johnny's mom or whoever's mom, they're like, she's got to simmer down, you know, like, it's crazy.
Yeah.
But, yeah, I mean, it's.
So good support system.
Supports
Obviously, one of the-
that, yeah.
That's huge. So you got a support system
Mm-hmm.
that understands what you're trying to do and just support that. That's the thing. It seems like they support you whether it's going
Yeah,
good
big
or
faith,
bad, right?
a faith system in God, a system in faith. We grew up in a religious, you know, household. And we're Serbian Orthodox, so we're you know, it's very, you know, our culture is also really strong into the church. So it helps to be grown into that as you know, as a kid and being introduced to Jesus at a young age like that. And where it's like now I feel that I've always got him to lean on, good or bad, you know, and you know, it's always trying to, you know, be a better person and be a better Christian, but you know, as a sportsman too, trying to be a better sportsman, I think that just, you know, helps me bridge the gap. So
would you say you use your faith, you know, even, you know, so I talked about where does your structure, where does this come from? Is that your head structure?
yeah, my faith and family for sure, both, I would say both are my biggest two, you know, by far, you know, I would say, because it, like, I am, you know, that they mean everything to me. I mean, I think I just want, you know, I don't care about my safety or my successes as much as I do about theirs. You know what I mean? It's just one of those things. And yeah, I mean, I don't think I'd be in that kind of a space with religion without my family. So.
Yeah, it's key. And
It maybe wouldn't be as close with my family without religion. You never know, but.
well, mentally, like, you know, just in the mental structure, you have something bigger than yourself, right? Something bigger than
Definitely.
yourself, bigger than the situation, no matter the situation you're even in. The world's
Yeah.
that's bigger,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
You get a setback at the Olympics,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah, of course.
Your faith is what keeps you grounded.
Yeah.
What keeps you grounded, right?
Yeah.
Your faith. And I just think that is important. I really do.
It definitely is.
It couldn't be pushed enough, right?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, faith, family, your support system. So a couple keys to your victory, right?
Yeah,
So
yeah.
the way you keep keel, personally, like if it's my opinion,
Yeah.
I think because you're left-handed. Yeah,
Being a lefty.
being a lefty is a difference.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know, you're wired a little bit different. You know, the way I think lefties operate, right side of the brain because you're left.
Yeah, yeah, you got the different type of thinking, I guess. Also, like, I guess, like they say that righties live longer too. So I got like 5 less years on average. So
Yeah,
I hope not.
That's because you're out winning world titles.
Yeah, that's why. Brain damage. No.
Yeah, structure-wise, I think you do an excellent job, and it's just meeting you and your dad, the faith, the family. And then one more thing, you got some swag, bro. So
think?
we can talk about all the toughness and that, and,
Yeah.
and you're tough, but, you know, you got some swag.
I guess.
Kid,
Yeah.
no, I don't know if they see it.
Look at
but
that hair. Look at that.
Well, I'm saying the wrestling comb over, you've got it going on right now.
Fixing my hair every match, right?
Yeah.
Like that. I'm just kidding. I just do that because my hair is too long.
So I have two things on that, though. One, yeah, you're probably doing that as a habit.
Yeah.
But I think that second of a mental distraction is helpful.
Yeah.
Yes. It just has a boom, and then you're back on. But I think that helps. So.
Maybe it does. I could. I mean, everyone's like, you're gonna get. My mom's like, cut your hair. My aunt's cut your hair. You're gonna get. Someone's gonna shoot on you. No, but no. I would say style and fashion and just being in tune with myself is very important to me. I've always been inspired since I was a kid. I had some good friends like Andre Hernandez. He's Angel Escobedo's cousin. He kind of got me into shoes and being a sneakerhead a little bit.
Okay.
And then from there, I've kind of always been just caring about how I dress, with my clothes and looking good off the mat and on the mat. Both are important. I mean, wrestling's a sport where we're used to being gritty and tough, and people don't really care about what they look like sometimes as much as it is. Yeah. But from the outside world looking in, sometimes I think that it can kind of shed a little negative light that we're like these rough cavemen kind of people that, you know what I mean? When it's like, and now that fighting is getting more popular, wrestling is also growing with popularity, but I think there's still a missing piece of that, growth into just how people look and not just while training, but off the mat too, and I'm, really trying to get, well, obviously we're here for a reason, right?
Yeah. So let's talk about it. ONEV.
Yeah, ONEV. Yeah, that's that's the brand. That's the name of the brand that me and my partners have started to, we started working on, and now it's turned into a reality.
Behind the scenes still, right? This is still things working?
Yeah. Well, obviously, we're moving forward, and we'll have things available, but it's something that's obviously a work in progress and going forward. Yeah, well, the shoes.
Right, we got some shoes here.
Yeah.
Some pretty cool different shoes, ONEV.
The shoes, the ONEV, the wrestling shoes that we had, actually, these are still in the prototype era or prototype stages. I was actually planning on wearing these bad boys in the Olympics, so obviously that didn't work out. But they're amazing shoes that just, from built around what I know is a high. Not just me, but other high level, the best wrestlers in the world have tried them, and we're still in the process of getting that on the feet of the best wrestlers to, perfect a shoe that looks like something, but also, comes across that people are like, wow, what are those? And they're very clean. They're very, they're performance based, obviously, but we care about, for certain things about it that we want it to look good. But
well, that's what's cool, right? Is being a world champion and having, your creative. Whoever doesn't think a world champion has a creative mind is crazy, by the way.
Yeah.
They're going to be good in everything.
Yeah.
For the most part, right? So it's not a surprise to me that, wrestlers over the years have started to develop. And I think it's always been there. It was more of a society wasn't ready. The wrestlers had swag for a while. Let me just tell you.
I know.
Let me tell you.
I know.
Okay?
I think,
But
I think so too.
Right? I don't think society was there yet. And
they're not ready for something for, our ONEV's real goal is we're trying to merge, streetwear and fashion and lifestyle into wrestling, something that's a brand that's inspired by wrestling and that we can, keep.
That looks good right there.
It's something that we.
And I'll beat your butt in them too, right? That
tough,
looks slick.
Yeah. But it's something that I think that it's something that we can kind of really move into, elevating the what wrestlers wear, and something that people don't just throw on a wrestling T-shirt, but they can wear it. They can wear it out in the street. They want to go shopping. They want to go out at night. They're going to look good, and they can also go to train in it too. Having high quality and a high standard.
Premium boutique. High end. Not just high end, but fashion of.
Yeah, we kind of want to move it toward, we want to just keep driving the wrestling culture up and getting people involved into the sport that can help, make wrestling bigger, but also because that's obviously I'm obsessed with the sport, and this has been my life, so I love wrestling to get bigger. But at the same time, for that to happen, I think we need to elevate it, and I think. We've got the right team. We've got the Avengers assembled, and we can do some big stuff here.
So Deion Sanders, right? Well, he made swag. kind of come to life back in the day. So for football and sport and that, right? Prime time, a different alter ego.
Yeah. And not just with the shoes, obviously, the clothing, obviously about the stories that we want to tell, the people that we want to talk to, being able to, we're trying to work with, we're in the works of being on 5 or 6 top 20 teams in the country, high school teams, that'll be wearing our gear, like for warm-up singlets and obviously shoes, but it'll be something because, we're not really trying to get into the sublimation and, mass production business.
That you see kind of at the basic local tournaments.
Yeah, but something that we're building, exactly. It's something that we're building to, we're building around this idea of trying to really, people understanding what we're doing.
Like goat gear. It's
like goat?
Like the goat.
Oh,
the shoes.
Oh, yeah,
the goat shoes.
Yeah.
This is kind of like
the thing that I want to be also state though.
Next level.
Yeah, it is.
Next level.
This is something for the greats, but it's something that I'm not trying to put my face on and say this is the Stevan Micic signature shoe by any means.
Right.
Yep. Well, this is my this is something I want to be. I'm hands on, but I'm not being this isn't my like merch or something that I'm making. This is something that's preceding me.
Yep.
And that's kind of the point.
So you have some collaborating partners that you work with behind the scenes, and
How
did that come about? How does that?
Well,
ONEV.
Yeah.
What is that?
ONEV,
What does it mean?
It came from a few of us came together trying to think of names, and it originally started as 1V. So some people still think it's 1V.
1V.
Yeah, but it's because me and one of my partners in the business, we've been working together, or at least talking about ideas for the last 5, 6, 7 years, and we were just like,
So
we've had
collaborating for a little while now.
Yeah, really trying to figure. We both had one vision of trying to do the same thing and bringing lifestyle into wrestling and bring fashion into wrestling. And vice versa, bringing that wrestling space into the other way around. So it's something that we've had that idea on. But I just thought that the word ONEV just seemed a little cooler, a little more like it doesn't mean anything type of thing. Even though we've I think we're going to kind of go with the acronym of on to never ending victories. So
that's nice.
Yeah. So I think,
nice.
But I mean, it sounds good, it works. But just so you guys know, that's how ONEV came about, and it's something we want to, like I said, this is about, the elegance and of the sport, because I think we get so much. We know that it's a gritty sport. We know it's a tough sport. We know it's rugged and it's grassroots, but there's still an elegance to it, to the technique, to the skill, to the grind. There's everything to that, and we want to keep that going up.
I see how it kind of represents you. So if I took my take on this shoe and maybe you, right? It's pretty straightforward. You're left-handed, so you're pretty literal. Okay.
Yeah, I wasn't the one who put all the designs on it though myself. I'm not the artist.
All right.
I'm not the artist type, like you said. I'm lefty. I'm not the artist here.
It's got the sturdiness.
Yeah.
Right. The leather, the sturdy. So it's got the toughness, it's playful, and it obviously looks world class.
Thank you. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So
yeah,
it
needs to be. I think that it is. And for now, I mean, we're extremely excited about keep working on this as kind of one of our major priorities as we go into the gear, as we go into our capsules release, as we go into some, different editorials and different, different media stories, because ultimately too we're a media company who's trying to tell other stories of people within the sport or within an arm's reach, and so I'm really excited about this. I'm trying to be a world champion doing this too, so yeah.
So what don't you do?
What don't I do?
Yeah. What do you not like? I mean, everybody. Hey, I'm a pretty
cool dude. That's actually a really good question, right? And a difficult question, because I like a lot of stuff.
Right.
What don't I like?
I don't like sauerkraut on my hot dog. What
know.
don't you like?
I don't know. Well, there's things I just don't really like do and stuff, I guess, but I'm not really into I don't know. I guess, like, the older you get, you kind of get an appreciation for more things.
Yeah.
I feel like I'm at that age now where I've just, like, started appreciating things like I wouldn't have liked before. Like, I did not care about art like 5-6 years ago, but now I, like, love art.
Yeah.
I'm learning a lot about it every day. I'm being surrounded around it. I mean, we've got like little things here and there, and the way you think, consider art is subjective, and I love it just because, I don't know. There's a bunch of things.
You think you like it because this is my take. I can look at art and appreciate it so much because it's like a wrestling match that I didn't have to train for or do. It just is kick butt.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, and also understanding.
Like the product is done.
Well, yeah, exactly. But also, the older you get too, you realize, like, the work that's put into it, right?
That's what I mean, though,
so to know of, like, what that person did, like, it might just look like some, paint splattered here and there, but you realize, like, this artist, he decided to fill up some balloons with paint and throw them at the thing in a certain amount of them for some reason, or do something crazy to, like, make this design or whatever. I have the guy who cuts my hair back in Indiana, actually. My video guy put me on. His name is Freddie Fades. He actually went around Easter for 40 days and 40 nights before, and he went to a different state and went to a church and had the priest at the church draw on a canvas. And then he went back, he washed it and saw lines and painted. And now it's actually there's a really high chance he's in the works of getting it it's got nominated to the Latin Hall of Fame with so I mean he's Puerto Rican, so it's
nice.
he's got, I mean, it's just like to see
energy.
something like that, I mean, really changed my mind on how art is portrayed and how I look at it, because it's not just so cut in copy paste, put it down. It's not.
Well, there's
like,
energy in everything.
Yeah.
And you can kind of appreciate maybe the energy that the artist put into it.
Mm-hmm.
So when you look at it, he's going to leave a little bit of imprint of that.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
Well,
Everybody.
I mean, exactly.
Everybody has an imprint that they're going to leave, and there's no doubt, why you're successful, why your system and your family and your faith is successful. Wrestling-wise, is no doubt why you're successful. And I think what people can also take from that is, the formula, I think that, or the recipe for success people talk about. What is it? And I think one of the things that you guys have figured out is by not having a system or a formula, you guys created one, and along the way, you didn't make it become everything. You had more priorities ahead of that. Does that make sense?
Yeah, of course.
And because of that, you've allowed to have a cushion of play, enjoyment, and let that. You have an injury, right?
Yeah.
But the cushion that you guys leave to allow things that happen, there's no doubt in my mind, you're going to be bounced back, and you're going to be a better version of you.
Oh, yeah. Regardless of what goes on, I know that I'm going to be a better person and going forward with how I'm going to attack it regardless, just like it's wrestling. If I don't step up on the mat again, I'm going to recover this thing like I would be. You know what I mean? It's just I'm just using that as an example, but it's like, it's important to go, like, everything you do, you kind of treat like when you're wrestling, because of how you've grown, how you've, matured from the sport, what you've learned from the sport, how to work through things.
Already know. You
being
need a
flexible.
timeline, a goal.
Yeah, give me that. Give me how it is, because it's, exactly.
And some things I don't know, I can fill it in.
Yeah. I mean, there's ups and downs in the sport, and there's ups and downs in life, and you kind of learn how to, lap them together and make it work, and be able to see the light at the end of the tunnel when things get tough. Wrestling is it's made me a better person. So, yeah. Yeah.
So wrestling is like life.
It is.
It's so right.
It's like life in 6 minutes of wrestling. So
I have a quote, and that was it, actually. I needed a quote one time for a wrestling tournament, at the state tournament, and they said, give me a quote. And I said, so 6 minutes determines the rest of your life.
That's a big one.
Because because 6 minutes and 1 second, what I did in that 6 minutes determines my life, because either my coach or my dad or whoever, 1 second afterwards is affected. The fans are affected. How I come off the mat, how I'm approached by my teammates, how I get on the bus, where are we going to go, where's my placement the next day. It all, plays a part, but I think you guys, and that's just me, but I'm just saying what I've learned is you got to be a little bit more free to make mistakes.
Yeah, of course.
Right? And I think that's what you guys do well, is that success or that formula, the recipe. I think you do well with, I don't know, but it seems like you have a good buffer.
Thank you.
And
It's
that's
important.
impressive. And that's the maturity you discussed earlier.
Yeah.
You've had to work hard for that.
Of course.
It's probably the hardest thing you've had to work
One
on.
of the hardest things I have, definitely. It wasn't easy to figure that out, but, I always work best too, just being able to turn things off and on. And when you get on to practice and when you get on the mat, it's full-fledged, full force, all your energy right there. And when you get off of it and you can take a break, you got to turn it off. You can't let it, otherwise your battery's going to run out. So.
And people need to listen to that. And that's,
People don't listen, though, because they're just wired, like, I got to keep working hard. I got to go run. It's like, yeah, well, you got to put your energy it's train. This is like whatever it is, like train, put in this, like by working harder, work harder. It's like work smarter, always work smarter. And that's a way to work smarter, Because why would I put in, like, if I knew that my limit to getting, if I could, if I knew that, like, I move this over here and I can get, 3 steps better, or I can take a bunch of these, it takes is like double the time to get 3 steps better. But people are still over here doing that when it's like, look, we can make this way better on you. You could actually focus on something, use less time, and get better. That sounds like a no-brainer.
So why don't people do that?
Well, I don't know. I wish that's easy. So, yeah.
They should, right?
Yeah.
So just a couple questions, and then we'll close out. You
Perfect.
cool?
Let's do it.
All right,
Let's do it, Sonny.
Today's youth wrestlers.
Yeah.
Not youth. Definitely not youth. But when I say youth, like high school, okay?
Yeah.
Like a Marcus Blaze.
Okay.
Okay, or Bassett.
Yep.
Right? Mm-hmm. Like today's new wave of the hot wrestlers.
Yeah,
The new wave.
Yep.
Coming in. What's your take, and what's your relationship with maybe a Marcus Blaze? Obviously, workout and this and that. What's your take on?
Well, I think youth wrestling has always been very good, like in America. Where
not youth. I shouldn't have said youth, but
Well, yeah, no. Well, in my my age, I was good, but comparatively, there's kids like Chance Marsteller and Jimmy Goulaban and Zane Rutherford, and you've got all these kids who are coming up at the young ages that were really, really, really good, and we have it to a new degree because of one, they're being exposed to wrestling, higher level wrestling more often now with social media. People are finding out about them more of tournaments, but also, them just being able to go into a college room or go see guys who are world champions and Olympic champions or train with them sometimes, So
that's kind of.
I think that's really the edge that's really helping that now, is where you're seeing that in a lot in maybe a country like a Russia or Japan, or the youth is being exposed a little bit more to, or junior, under junior level, cadet, junior, youth. They're being exposed to that senior level more often. Marcus Blaze came in and trained with me and helped me try to get ready for the Olympics. And
Now, how does somebody like him honestly kind of fare against somebody like you?
Well, he's still young. He's got a lot to go, but for where he's at as a high school kid, he's very promising. And if he can keep that up, Marcus is an awesome kid, and he's got a lot of potential. Yeah. He's very, very tough for a high school kid. It's impressive for that age. So, let's just to be able to come in, I guess, to put it your way is like, to put it the way you're asking is to be able to bring someone who's going into their senior year of high school to come in and train with the world champion currently as a sparring partner is a very, very high, a very big achievement, a very good, something that means a lot. So.
And I kind of see a parallel maybe between maybe you and him as far as like maybe approach, maybe to the sport.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, just from my outside view. Seems like you guys approach.
Yeah, he's a real humble kid. I think he just understands how to take criticism and to learn how to, grow and learn from the sport as a student as a sport. I think that's probably the best way to put it in that end. So I think in general, youth wrestling is on the up in the U.S. and it's cool to see the influence that they're getting from older. It's cool. Mm-hmm. That we're kind of finally getting to see that gap be bridged a little bit more than before.
Yeah.
Because of the exposure, so.
And maybe even, gear, fashion,
Yeah. And I think that they're kind of being able to get where, I had Marcus even try on my shoe and he really loved it. So, I mean, him in the shoe and seeing how that was, I mean, it's awesome. I mean, I think as a kid, finding resources, being able to contact or talk to or, at any capacity, whether it be wrestling, whether it be my music taste, whether it be finding a video that I'm interested
real quick,
in any.
that was another one. Music. What do you listen to as a leisure? Not to cut that off.
Okay.
All right.
No, yeah, that's cool.
That was the next one. What is your leisure listen to music? And then what is your
go time music?
Yeah, say go
just
time
rager music.
Okay. So what's your leisure? If you're driving your car, what kind of car you drive?
I drive a matte black Audi A5 Quattro, so I love it. It's my baby.
Sounds nice.
It's very nice. But I when I'm cruising, I like a lot of Serbian music for just chill. A lot of older stuff I like to listen to, and even new stuff that's good. But I mean, I'm a pretty stimulated human being, to be honest, with natural energy. So I feel like I'm always pretty up tempo. But I do listen to stuff that's more chill on times too.
Has your music changed over
the
last couple years?
Definitely matured more. But I have a very strong influence to EDM, techno. Since I was in high school, I was really into a lot of the older DJs like Benny Benassi, a lot of guys like old Tiesto, not like now.
Can we give skateboarding the hair flip you do when you wrestle?
Skateboarders?
Right?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Does it come from maybe a little bit of that?
No, I wasn't a skater kid, but I appreciate skating.
Right?
I appreciate skating.
Okay.
But I listen to a lot of hip hop. I always have. I like a lot of stuff from the UK. I like a lot of global music. Obviously being Serbian listening, I listen to a lot of that. But also Afro beats, kind of more of stuff for beach chill. Kind of that's more of Afro beats would be chill type music. I like some music Japanese music too.
Okay.
I listen to K-pop.
Well, you have the ability to have a lot of different culture around you.
Yes. Reggaeton, Hispanic music. I like so much type of music. There really isn't much. Honestly, country isn't I wouldn't put country on my
really?
On my Spotify, really. But I like country. I'm not a hater on any music, really.
Okay. Yep. Couple closeout questions for you.
Cool.
The wife beater, you like that?
Yes, I love it.
Thank you.
Definitely. Thank you. I'm gonna write that one down.
I figured straight up. I didn't think I'd have much pushback on that. I could just tell. A polo. I did notice the polo.
Polos, yeah.
You wrestle. You had a polo that you wrestled with.
You just get a lot of polos on those teams. I feel like a lot of countries in Asia, Europe, always are wearing a polo, and they're pretty comfortable. It's not like the Ralph Lauren that tight one. It's just a regular jersey kind of polo. It's cool, real cozy.
I noticed, and I'm it makes sense because everybody's running with the collars all the time for wrestling practice, but you wrestle in a singlet, like a V-neck.
Yeah.
So that's why you probably wrestle in the wife beater.
Yeah, it works.
Right?
Yeah.
All right. That was just my 2 cents.
I love it.
All right.
Don't worry, I want to hear this stuff.
Okay. So if you had, I want to say this the right way. So who's your favorite buddy in the wrestling world? Who's your funnest guy?
Miles Amin. Well, we were roommates. I mean, I'm a world champ. He's an Olympic bronze medalist, a world bronze medalist. We've got, we've spent 6 years, 7 years living together in Michigan.
Wrestling best friend.
He's
right? Who's your wrestling best
and
friend?
he doesn't just compete for, he competes for San Marino. And both of us were training at Cliff Keen for some time. So we were doing all our trips to the European Championships, we're together. You know, even though he's a different country than me, we're traveling and doing everything together overseas. So, you know, Maz is one of my best friends in general. So it's easy, you know.
Easy.
Having two of us doing the same thing in our
Yeah,
same
that's
friend group
true.
is really cool, you know, where it's not just, you know, we
Somebody
hang
on-
out anyways and we train and we're Michigan teammates, you know. So, Miles, for sure.
I got some information of your wrestling style, but I'm not going to go into that.
No, it's okay.
That's a whole different
Yeah.
training session.
Yeah.
Always room for improvement. All right, that's what I have for Dad's quote. So if there would be a dad quote, right, your dad.
Yeah.
So from what I'm looking, I remember I heard after the World Championships, something, always room for improvement. So I wrote that down.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Right?
That's a very good one. Yeah, I would say, like just that growth mindset, having that, you know, like the ability to, no matter how good or bad you did, that you could always improve. You know?
Okay. And that don't bug you?
No.
It doesn't bug you?
You know, it is crazy to think about just, you know, being told like to
I
do
know.
something, especially
I'm
when you're like,
asking an
I'm the
honest
best. Why are
question.
you telling me what to
I
do?
know.
But it's part of
I
the sport,
understand it 'cause I
and it's
watch
also
it,
part
but-
of the humility of wrestling that you have to adjust or you will get past.
That's
So,
awesome.
yeah.
You are saying why you are the best.
Yeah, exactly.
Training mood, happy, playful.
Yeah.
But it's still, you have an agenda.
Of course,
right?
of
Still
course.
you have
I've
an
learned how to
agenda.
lock in and lock out. I've learned a lot of lessons of that, and over the years, you know, learn how to do it.
One of my wrestlers that I looked at on the world stage when I was young was Sergey Belogasov,
Yes,
right?
Sergey. Yeah, he was my coach
Can I
too.
spend 1 second
Please,
talking about?
of course.
And I would probably go to his mindset. That's something I couldn't ask him probably. I wouldn't have the ability. What would you describe? What would he teach you about mindset? Sergey
I don't know
Belogasov.
that everybody sucks and he's the best. I don't know. His belief in himself and his brother. They're just of like their confidence is at that. I don't know if I've ever met anyone more confident, just understanding how they function, and that's, you know, it's crazy. I mean, you looked at what he was able to do in his time as the best. I mean, he dominated people, and not just in like, oh, I just take you down. No, he was throwing people, ragdolling, taking them down. Parterre was insane. I mean, just overall, just him and his brother were so dominant. But Sergey, I mean, learning from him, I learned a lot of really cool things about learning how to peak for tournaments, how to get ready. You know, the mental switch, maturity. He definitely played a part in a lot of that.
So I see. So having a lot of coaches that have competed on a level
you're
like
able
that,
you're able to take from.
You're snatching.
Yeah,
little
even though I
things
have my
here.
dad, you know, he's always my main coach, but I've worked with others that,
Yeah.
you know, have helped me in other aspects too. So
Well, you got to have a data collector.
he is the
right?
collector.
The data collector.
Well, I was gonna say my dad's also a collector too, not just a dad. He's a dad that's a collector. No, he collects the
really?
ideas. Yeah, I'm saying he collects everything. He's like
Yeah.
a freaking. He is, you know, he's like the database. He
Yeah.
gets everything, and yeah,
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
he's like a robot.
A good robot, right?
Yeah.
Anything that you have that you want people to know. Okay, so we've covered wrestling.
no, I
you have an
mean-
injury. We all know.
No, I mean, I'm just excited for you know, everything going forward with the brand that me and my partners have started, and something that's going to grow. God willing, you know, we're putting all our energy into it right now, and especially with the time with my knee, it's something that I'm going to be able to, you know, push. Like I said, I want to be a world champion in this category, and regardless of what happens on the mat, I want to be able to turn this into something that's successful and something that doesn't just change and become a successful business for my own personal, but it's something that I want to help the sport of wrestling in, and something I feel like has a need for, and something that I, you know, collectively as a group can do to, you know, turn the wrestling world upside down when they see the stuff that we've got coming. So,
Dude, I love it.
yeah.
I love
So
it. I
thank you.
wish you the ultimate success.
Thank you, Sonny.
And I see why you have success, and your faith, your support system, your energy you carry is
Thank you.
is one that people need to see and to understand that, you know, everybody says there is levels to this. I don't know if you realize it, but on maybe everything along with your wrestling, your levels are up there. You know,
Yeah.
and I know the support system has a big part of that.
It does.
Your family. Yeah, man, it's been an honor.
Thanks, man. I appreciate it.
It really has.
Yeah.
ONEV.
ONEV,
On
baby.
to
Never ending
victory.
victories. There you go.
And that's kind of your motto.
Yeah, I would
Right?
say so. Yeah, especially always just trying to go forward and to move and look at everything as small victories in life, regardless to, you know, because it's about the journey.
Yeah.
So,
Well,
yeah.
good luck, my friend, and
Thank you.
Godspeed, and on to never-ending victory.
Appreciate that. Thank you, and God bless, bro.
Thank you.
Thank you.